This is Dr. Chris's Film Dungeon commentary with my special in-studio guest, comic book artist Derek Rook.
Hey, what's going on?
We will be doing the commentary on The Beyond, a movie I have never seen, but Derek is like intimately familiar with.
Intimately.
Yeah, this is Lucio Fulci's The Beyond, not From Beyond. That's the H.P. Lovecraft movie directed by Stuart Gordon, starring Jeffrey Combs and Barbara Compton. Completely separate movie. This is The Beyond. So, all right. So I don't know what versions of this film are out there. So I would probably say start this movie where you have the hotel logo up, because there's probably a couple different versions of this movie because it's probably been released a couple different ways. We have the Anchor Bay version. So as soon as you have like what looks like a hotel sign up on your screen, it should be the 000.1 mark. That's when you want to hit play and listen to two scallywags talking about this movie, which we know nothing about because we're not involved in this movie in any way. We're not paid to do this. This is for fun. We don't own the movie. We don't have anything to do with the movie. So make sure you bought your copy legally, as we have our legal copy, and we are doing this for fun, not money, and nothing else. Right, Derek?
Chris, don't call me a scallywag. They can't prove anything legally.
So now that we got that all out of the way, disclaimers to cover our asses legally from being sued, here we begin. Hit play now.
Sue me, the joke's on you.
Louisiana, 1927. That should be on your screen.
Or Rome.
Is this Rome? They couldn't shoot in Louisiana?
Actually, this very well could be Louisiana. There are parts of this movie that are filmed on location. This is one of those movies that Sean Clark likes to visit on his Hallowed Grounds retrospectives.
There is an amazing comic book that was put out. Official movie picture adaptation by Stephen Romano and Noah David Henson, forward by Douglas Winter, and afterward by Stephen Bissett. And it comes with a soundtrack to the movie, too. So you get the whole soundtrack to the movie to play while you read the comic. It's kind of like those old records back in the day Marvel had. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Yeah. You saw that Conan one that I have.
Yes.
It doesn't come with the comic book, though, so it's just a record. But some of them did come with the comic book, too.
The Book of Ebon, everyone.
So
some foreshadowing. So yeah, that graphic novel is pretty much a straight up adaptation of the movie, almost beat by beat.
And it's published by Blackest Heart Media.
Blackest Heart Media, rest in peace. That was a long time ago. That's where I got my start. That book was my gateway drug, if you will, into the whole zombie Gates of Hell thing that would come later. But Blackest Heart Media was run by Sean Smith Lewis, and when I started working with him, he would pay me with bootleg movies, which was his big thing. He would do a lot of bootleg VHSs. This movie at the time was amongst one of them, because you couldn't find these back in the day in these lavish Cadillac formats like you can today.
Now, how many times would you say you've seen this movie?
I've seen it a lot now. Back in the day, besides Zombie and Gates of Hell, almost everything else from Fulci's catalog and all those giallo movies, with the exception of maybe Demons and a couple others, were relegated to film obscurity. You'd have to get them on bootlegs, or every once in a while there'd be like a specialty VHS that would go out of print, or you might find one in a mom and pop video store. But on the whole, these were hard to get until much, much later. So I've seen this a billion times, but
what does that say in that language? That does not say The Beyond.
What's that?
This we have these little cards here in Derek's little box. It says Die Gichter Zombies.
Do I look German to you? I got Italian and Albanian in me, and that's about it. I'll do my best. How about if I can say this, then you'll give me a free hamburger or something.
Between what is real and what is fantasy, beyond the waking worlds of time and space, there lies a terrain of shapeless horrors so vast, so empty, so burning, so cold, that it could only exist in the shadows of the imagination or in the nightmare of the damned. Eben, 2181 BC? Is that in the
right.
Bible?
The Gates of Hell and The Beyond both had an evil book. In this movie, it was the Book of Ebon. And in the Gates of Hell, it was the Book of Enoch. And why they didn't just make it the same book is kind of beyond me, because it would have tied these movies together kind of nicely, I think.
Kind of like a shared universe, like Marvel or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Evil Dead, maybe.
Yeah, I still want to do something like that one day, like Italiano Cinemographica universe kind of thing.
Groovy doovy.
So we're watching a flashback here. I think this was 1927, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
And,
our
boy over here is getting chain whipped. Take a good look at that painting that he's in the middle of right now, because that's going to pay off some dividends later on.
Derek's going to be mostly my guide in this movie because I don't know nothing about this film.
Yeah. Well, I got some anecdotes that we can talk about along the way. But right now, these guys think that this person is a warlock of some sort, so they've come to finally give him his just desserts. So they're chain whipping him to death.
Would chains really cause that much damage to somebody, though?
I think we should try it out. I mean, there was a lot of breathing that I saw on the way here on Main South, and we should just get a big chain and try it on one of them and see what happens.
Oh, my.
Before they do it to you, after all.
Yeah.
Maybe I can get my 3 hubcaps back from last year.
So they're going to crucify him now?
Yeah, Fulci was known for really lingering on the gore and the viscera of his movies. So a dying scene could go on for upwards of 3-4 minutes in a sitting.
Was he a deeply religious man?
Actually, he was, yeah. He was, a lot of old school Italians were and still are. I mean, Christ, some of my family would shake during the, while they're saying grace before they ate.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was a really strange upbringing as far as that goes. But
did you ever watch that Lucio Fulci documentary?
I don't think so. Which one are you talking about?
The one made by our local filmmaker, Mike Baronis.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. You probably running him at Rock and Shock.
Yes, I have.
Rock and Shock, for anyone tuning in who's not from Worcester, Massachusetts. Local horror convention happens here every year at the DCU Center in the Palladium, usually the second or third weekend of October. Run by Kevin Barbary.
Is a local hero as far as especially Italian horror cinema, but just horror cinema in general. But he's got his finger on the pulse with this. There's nobody that I've ever met in my life that has the knowledge, the wherewithal, and the contacts that Mike Baronis has had in this world of Italian horror films.
Yeah.
So this symbol that's on the screen right now, the other screen.
Yeah.
That symbol is something that's going to be a reoccurring theme, very much like the thorn rune that happens on Michael Myers' wrist.
Ah.
That's a signal of bad things to come. Catherine McCall, she was in many of Fulci's films. David Warbeck was in this one. He died of cancer. One of the last things he did was the commentary for this film that's on this DVD. They did it right by his bedside. He and Catriona McCall. What you may not know about Fulci, Chris, is that these horror movies that he did were such a small part of his full cinema stay as a director. He did over 100 films, and he's done every genre that there was. And it wasn't until Zombie that he became known in America, and it was off the success of Zombie that these other movies came about. After Zombie came Gates of Hell. After Gates of Hell, I believe, was... I might be getting my facts wrong, but it might be this one, or it might have been House by the Cemetery, but I'm pretty sure it was this one, and then House by the Cemetery. So now we're at Louisiana, 1981. and that's that same hotel that from earlier. Now it's disused, and we're finding out that it's been willed to Miss Catriona McCall. She's going to get some surprises.
Who are the voice actors in the movie?
Well, it depends because a lot of these movies were filmed silently because their markets were overseas. So they would film these movies with Italian actors, with British actors, with American actors. They would deliver their lines in their native language because it was all going to get overdubbed anyway. So, oh, this guy just took a spill. No, thank you. But OSHA is going to be pissed.
You know, them pesky OSHA people, just always trying to get the little guy down.
And even you notice the copious amounts of blood coming out of this guy's mouth for just...
A little bit ridiculous considering he only just fell.
He fell like maybe a story and a half off a scaffolding.
Yeah, he wouldn't have
back,
that
so
much hemorrhaging. He would have like a
mouth.
broken bone.
But to answer your question, Catriona McCall did her own voiceover. Oh, no, she didn't. My bad. I'm sorry. She was voiced over by an English-speaking person, but she's British. Which I think that would have been kind of charming if they let her do her own voiceover. David Warbeck, I'm not sure. I think he might have done his own, but I'm just not sure.
Now, have you met any of these people when they came to Worcester? The few times that they've had Italian?
No, I didn't. That was largely due to Mike Brona, speaking of which. And I went there. I'm strange when it comes to people I admire. I'm kind of the opposite of what most people do at conventions. Usually the people that I love in cinema the most are the people that I want to meet the least because I love what they do so much that I'm afraid if I meet them that something about them is going to ruin that mystique. Either that or they just wouldn't be all that nice. And it would make me want to go home and throw the movies away. But no, I didn't meet any of these cats. My cousin met Ian McCulloch from Zombie, and he told him that I was one of the artists on that book. And Ian McCulloch's answer in a very nasty tone was, "Well, bully for him then." So I didn't gain a fan there.
Yeah, that happens a lot with convention people and celebrities.
Mm-hmm. Now
that happened to me with Tom Savini.
Well, I met Tom in passing once, and I showed him a piece of artwork from Day of the Dead that I did.
Yeah.
And he just took a quick look at it, said hello, and then left. So I have no opinion of the man either way. Love his special effects. Now, room 36. This you're going to notice right off the bat that there's a few motifs that happen in this. Haunted hotel, a haunted room number 36 that keeps popping up right off the bat. It signals to things like The Shining, which you also haven't watched yet, which I can't get over. I actually brought it. Did you see the movie We Are Still Here?
No.
You didn't?
No.
Dr. Chris, Radio of Horror? We Are Still Here has a scene where a plumber comes to the house and his name is Joe and he has to go in the basement. And the director of that movie was a very big fan of Italian cinema, horror cinema, and Fulci in particular. And that was a little homage to this movie. And that's the original Joe. And Joe will tell you that no matter what the problem is, no matter what the job is, if you ask him how long it's going to take to fix it, he's going to tell you, I guess it'll take as long as it takes.
He's the original Joe the Plumber.
He is Joe the Plumber. Where's John McCain? He should be the one sitting in on this one. So, in The Shining, there's a room called 237.
That I'm familiar with. Yeah,
Oh, yeah, at least
yeah, I can tell you the entire plot line of The Shining because I've read the book.
So, we got the whole haunted motel thing going on here as well. And there'll be some other things that mirror some other genres of movies and other famous American-made horror films.
Yeah, I've read the book The Shining, just never seen the movie. But I did see the made-for-TV miniseries on ABC.
Which was exactly like the book, which, I don't know.
Which is what Stephen King wanted.
Yeah. I respectfully disagree. No disrespect to Mick Garris, but the Kubrick movie to me was one of the most horrific movies that I've ever seen in my life, and I still stand by that as one of probably the top 10 scariest films.
Yeah, I mean, I've had a couple opportunities to buy it, and I put it down, walked away, bought something else.
So right off the bat, in this scene here, we're noticing an exchange between the housekeeper and Joe the plumber. This exchange signifies to the audience that there might be something going on between these two. This is never explored again in the entire picture. This never pays off whatsoever.
So, so it's like
the fate of these two characters. Well, actually, no. The fate of these two characters is yet to be seen, but their relationship is something we'll never know for sure. I've stayed up many, many nights wondering if Joe the plumber was a faithful husband to his wife, or he just fucked around like all the other plumbers. But I will say this much. If you wanted the backstory on Joe the plumber, the Beyond graphic novel is a good place to start, because Steve expanded on almost every single character in that film. So you learn a little bit more about Joe, more than you ever wanted to know about what he does with his monkey wrench.
Uh-huh. So did you classify this mostly as a zombie movie or like a ghost haunting resurrection movie?
Well, here's the thing, is that once Fulci did Zombie, and Zombie became as popular as it did, nobody would let him make a movie without a zombie in it. So Gates of Hell has zombies in it, of course, but they're different than the Fulci Island zombies of Zombie. They're different. They're more like the Phantom Dead, if you will. And in this movie, and we'll get to it, but there's something similar to that. That's why I said Gates of Hell and this movie are great companion movies, because they also have Phantom Dead characters recurring throughout.
There's nothing ever good buried behind a wall. Like in Stir of Echoes, they find that dead girl's body.
Yeah.
The Boy.
Mm-hmm.
If you saw The Boy, you know what I'm talking about.
No, I didn't see The Boy.
Oh. Do you want me to spoil it for you?
Sure, go ahead.
The boy is a doll. Is actually the dead son's not really dead. He's living in the walls.
Uh-huh.
And the clues dropped throughout the movie are like there to begin with, but they're not really so much in your face that you're like, oh, they have to catch the rats because the rats get in the walls. They leave extra food out so he can come out of the walls and get the food. Other things.
I see.
Yeah. The doll is just a doll. It does nothing else. They kept their son after he was horribly disfigured due to a fire, locked away in the walls because he's a psychopath too. Kind of like in that movie we watched last night.
Well, bully for him then.
Lights Out. That psycho disfigured girl.
So some shenanigans are about to go down.
He reminds me of Forrest Gump a little bit.
He acts a little bit like Forrest Gump.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. I love how Fulci always painted in such broad strokes. So if somebody was like a psychiatrist, they would talk in these low, deep tones. Even when they were walking down the street to get a newspaper, it almost would be like that because they decided to be a psychiatrist, that somehow they felt the need to talk this way.
Is this based on anything original, or is this an original idea?
I think every horror movie in one form or another is kind of vamped on another one.
No, I mean, is this based on a book?
No.
That's what I mean. So it's an original...
Yeah, this is
an original screenplay.
A screenplay done by the same people who wrote for Zombie, and I think Gates of Hell, too.
Now, you said he did painting, so he was a painter, Fulci?
No, the character that died in the beginning was painting a picture.
Yes.
Look at that.
The guy who gets chained to death.
Poor Joe.
The back of this comic book has an advertisement for a giant catalog from Blackheart Media. Remember when you used to send in money to get a catalog? Nowadays, you just basically go on eBay or Amazon if you really want to find that T-shirt.
I printed out the catalog for Blackest Heart Media on a dot matrix computer, on a computer printer, and it was the most painful experience of everybody's life because he had a big catalog and it would just go for like an hour and a half like a chainsaw. Now, as far as narratives go, this is one of the looser narratives of Fulci's horror catalog. The tightest, in my opinion, probably being Zombie. But in this movie, shit just happens. Like, she's driving down a road and there's this girl and her dog.
Oh, she's blind?
Yeah.
Yeah. Figured by the way that the cane, you don't hold a dog by that type of thing unless you're blind, because you need the dog to be right near you.
That's Dickie the dog.
Ah, Jesus Christ! You get a little bit of Visine, that might clear that right up for you.
These eye close-ups that Fulci was obsessed with could be a drinking game. If you had to drink every time there was a close-up of someone's eyes, you'd have to get your stomach pumped by the end of 90 minutes.
Well, there's some apple juice in the fridge behind you, and I got some alcohol in the car. We could mix it together and have a drinking. I'd probably be the only one drinking, so...
Yeah, it would have to, because somebody would have to drive the Uber vehicle home.
Is that a cross on her forehead?
No, that's just a bad hairdo.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe that was like a...
That's a Supercuts #2 special.
Oh, okay, all right. I thought for a minute that was maybe like a Charles Manson, Rob Zombie kind of thing.
No.
Okay.
Again, the broad strokes that Fulci uses in his movies on his characters are just so entertaining to watch. Like this... mentally challenged guy that's in this movie is it's so very obviously so that even without the sound or music or anything you could figure it out.
She's so beautiful. Tell me she doesn't die.
Which one?
The main character.
I can't tell you that. That's why we're watching the movie in the first place. We're supposed to have a little excitement here. I will say this, is that the blind girl is acting a little freaky. I would ask her to either pick up the pace. I know she's blind and everything, but she does have the dog for a reason. The movie without the blind girl would have been about 27 minutes long because it's been padded with her just trying to get from place to place in those opaque lenses that she's wearing.
If you have the comic book and the movie, you can read along.
Now, see, this is as close to a resolution to this story arc between Joe and this maid that we're ever going to get. Oh, Jesus, look at him.
Gross.
Oh, goodness gracious me.
Oh, that's disgusting.
Fulci had a penchant for eye violence.
That's a little bit too much. And she's just all kind of taking it in stride.
Yeah, she's just kind of,
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, that happened.
drunk on the job again.
She's not like running, screaming, like, ah!
But
we were worried yesterday when we were filming my film or whatever. The girls kept screaming. It's like, oh, the neighbors are going to call the police. We think we're murdering someone over here.
right.
So we did like 6 takes of Sarah and Kimber screaming.
So she just saw 2 dead bodies down in her basement and nothing. And now we learned that the theme song to this movie wasn't actually a theme song to the movie. It's actually been the blind girl playing the piano the whole time. Again with the eye close-up. Since we don't have any alcohol, I'm going to just say that every time that there's a close-up of eyes, you have to eat a piece of your macaroni there, or whatever it is. What do you
Salad.
eat? That's a salad? All right. You have to have a corn. Now, this is David Warbeck. He's the doctor. He's the town doctor that still does house calls. He's taking care of poor Joe.
That's kind of funny. What doctor does house calls these days?
And on the right there is Al Cliver. He's the actor who is also in Zombie. He was the other male lead next to Ian McCulloch. Voiced over by someone completely different in this movie. So the first time I ever saw this movie was back in 1997, I believe it was. I was living in Florida, and I heard through the Vine that Quentin Tarantino's Rolling Thunder Pictures acquired this movie for American distribution, and they were doing a midnight screening in a theater, well, in multiple theaters across America, but one specifically in Florida. I believe it was Sunrise, Florida, I'm not sure. But I remember I had a new girlfriend at the time, and maybe third date in or whatever, I asked her if she wanted to go see a movie with me, and this is the movie I took her to, not knowing what was in it or what was going on in it, but it took me so long to get to this movie theater that I literally missed everything that we've been watching up to this point. I'll tell you at what point we came in. But the amazing part about that was that this was before, GPS. This is before any kind of...
So this was many years ago, before...
Well, 1997.
1997, okay, 1997.
So I literally called the theater and got directions, and then I got lost, and I had to stop at this gas station in the middle of nowhere. It literally had one light on it, one dude inside, and he had this creaky voice, and he had to give me the rest of the directions there. So when I finally sat down in the movie theater, it was well after midnight. But here's the beautiful thing about it. It was almost filled to the brim with people, and they were young people, old people, there were... all sorts of creeds, all sorts of shapes, sizes, colors, and everybody was completely involved in the movie and just, screaming at the right parts and laughing at the right parts and just having a great time. And, you fast forward a bunch of years to a couple years ago, and Josh Gravel. Do you know Josh?
No.
Josh Gravel, also friends with a lot of the Trick or Treat radio guys and Mike Baronis. He had a film festival in Providence where they showed about 5 Italian horror movies in a row, and I think in one of these old majestic theaters, just these awesome restored theaters, and I don't know, maybe a dozen people were there, maybe 24 people for the entire day.
No, this is Joe's wife.
Huh?
This is Joe's wife.
This is Joe's real wife, yeah. So I'd be a little pissed if I were her. Gallivanting around with the hired help over at the hotel. So yeah, this was the first movie I took the girl that I was with at the time to. And she didn't get it at all. She had no idea what to do except wait for it to be over.
That's the testament of a true relationship. She understands your wacky doodle taste in films.
No, it wasn't a true relationship at that.
That's what I mean. That's the testament of a true relationship.
Yeah.
If she can get your wacky doodle.
Now, if that was Sarah, we would have got married the same night.
Well, you said Sarah's seen this and she really loved it, right?
Yeah, I've introduced her to many Fulci movies over the years. I don't think she's seen one so far that she didn't like. Although, I forget if it was this one or House by the Cemetery that she fell asleep in the middle of, but I think it was only because she wasn't properly rested.
Fulci movies are hit or miss with me because I've kind of gotten over gore for gore's sake in films. Mm-hmm. It's not my thing anymore. I'll watch it if I have to, but it's kind of like... I'm just not into it anymore. It's not that I'm offended or anything. I'm just kind of over the Saws and the Hostels and the, films like that. And there's a lot of God, how many independent horror movies come out every single week? Look at what's going on Redbox and Netflix and, just look at what comes out, just every week that you never even see in theaters. That, you got to go read about in Dread Central, maybe. And there's just a lot of garbage out there, and it's just hard to try and figure out what's going to be something you're going to want to sit through, and something you're like, fuck, did I just waste 2 hours watching this?
I would never say that about a Fulci movie. They're so over-the-top absurd that there's just no way that you can't do anything except admire the living hell out of the craftsmanship that went into each and every one of these films.
Or like that movie we saw last night, Lights Out. That movie was definitely worth the couple hours we spent on it.
But who goes to the morgue to dress their own husband for a funeral?
The Italians?
And then the daughter comes in, and the wife is already on the floor, and she's getting splashed in the face with acid, because acid is in a morgue, just waiting for something like this to happen. And we missed the scene earlier, but they had the body of Schweik, is the name of the warlock that got chain beaten to death in the beginning, and that was his body that emerged in the mud in the basement.
Oh, I saw that.
And then they took his body and they put brainwave monitors on it just to see what would happen. Like, if you worked in a morgue and a body came in, would you just hook it up to a EKG to see what would happen? Oh, look at that. And again, this is the daughter watching all this go down. That's her father dead on the table, and that's her mother getting her face eaten off by acid. And she's going to get splashed with an ocean of viscera.
Neither the mother or the father had red hair, but she's a ginger.
Yeah, well, the father's been messing around, so maybe the mother was messing around too.
Her mother's face has become the Blob. Okay, there's not that much blood in the face and the head of a human.
Did you ever get your forehead cut before? Or?
Yeah, but there wasn't that much blood.
No, there was more. When I cut my head and it bled, the blood chased after my Aunt Matilda. Just like that. And there's the introduction of our zombies in the movie. Oh.
What? We're not going to see the kid get killed? Aww.
Well, you didn't see her get killed, so Fulci wouldn't have missed an opportunity to kill somebody on screen. So
even a kid?
I think, yeah, so I think it's safe to say that you'll see her again. Look at David Warbeck putting the eyes on her like that. You know that there's something's going to go down later on. If it wasn't for this crazy ghost story that they were stuck in the middle of, these two kids would be in bed already. They'd be wrinkling some underlay.
Have they ever remade any of Fulci's movies?
No, they haven't. And
wow, but they remade Ghostbusters, but not the Fulci movies. They must be too good, right? But why remake masterpieces?
There's something about Italian cinema. I don't know.
Like they've never been Americanized either?
Not that I know of.
Did you hear they're going to be making The Orphanage into an American movie?
No.
Yep. Comes out next year.
No, that's completely unnecessary, but it's not the first time we'd say that.
Yeah, I mean, The Grudge, most of Japanese horror movies have been remade, including Godzilla. But, yeah, I was trying to find some information. I don't think any Italian famous movie has ever been remade.
I think there's a reason for that, too. There's got to be something... Either the Americans think that there'd be a lack of interest, or the Italians still
You nailed it right
hold
there.
the rights, and there might be something with the international rights of these movies. Who knows?
Lack of interest.
I don't know if that'd be true, though.
They don't book those horror Italian actors at Rocket Shock anymore because of the fact that their turnout is just non-existent.
That actually breaks my heart.
They got like some, they got people at their table a lot, but all of a sudden it's just done. You know what I mean? The people who really wanted to see them, they got there early and they saw them, and then the following day I was told that, I was being told that it was just like, just no interest in Worcester.
Well, that does break my heart all around, and that kind of goes back to what I was saying about the film festival that Josh Gravel did in Rhode Island a couple years back. And you know, you get these people that turn out in droves, and they call themselves horror fans, and they don't even know half
They're horror fans.
of what's out there. They're horror fans to the horror movies that they enjoy.
Oh, she's still alive.
So, you know, you'll get your people who love Scream and Freddy and Michael and Jason and Chucky and Leatherface, the usual suspects. But when you start to really clear off the surface and start digging in deep, you start to notice how flimsy some of the fandom in the horror community really is. When you start getting into these giallo movies, or you start to get into some of these, with the exception of the Americanized Asian horror flicks, but, you know, even if you go as deep as maybe Battle Royale, which has kind of become a lot more popular, especially with some of these movies that ripped it off, like Hunger Games and things like that.
No, the Hunger Games ripped off Battle Royale.
Yeah.
That's a shocker. I could have told you that back in 2001 when the movie was supposed to come out around
So
September 11th.
When I finally got to the theater, this is the part that I walked
Oh, this
in.
is where you finally got caught up.
Yeah. And then we noticed that right after the funeral of her mother and father, none of which has been investigated, by the way. They just died and get buried.
Oh my god.
We realized that something is fishy with her, too.
I was going to say, maybe the zombies don't like gingers. They don't like a ginger snap. Get it? No? All right. Never mind.
No. We don't get it.
That was a terrible joke, I'll admit.
Now, all that water in the basement is really going to ruin their plans to put a billiards room in there.
So do they explain why certain people are like that and other people just die because of
This movie explains next to nothing. Like I said, I got to give Steve Romano credit in the movie adaptation that he did because he explains everything. This movie gives you absolutely nothing, and it doesn't even give you enough connective tissue to figure it out on your own. But
I don't like having stuff spoon-fed to me, but at God, I like to have an explanation about why things are the way they are.
well, basically, you have Catriona McCall's character, Liza, and she inherits a haunted hotel, and as such, bad things start to happen. And they said that the reason it's haunted is because it was built on one of the 7 gateways to hell, and the gates of hell follows a similar lineage as well.
Boy, she is a creepy bitch, huh?
Which one, the blonde girl?
Yeah. Blind. Yeah, the blind one.
What did I say, the blonde? Well,
You
she
said
is
the blonde one, which would
She's
be the
blonde
heroine.
also. But I do have to say that beyond being creepy, she's kind of annoying. She gets off on being like this creepazoid.
Yeah, I mean, that's her, like, one-line shtick, and it's just kind of like, you know, either she's really creepy or it's just like, all right, don't you have a new bag?
There's room 36 again. Now, this is a disused hotel at this point. She's still in the process of trying to put it back together. So why that light on is a mystery to both you, me, and Dickie the dog.
All right. So you type in the Beyond in Google, the first thing you come up with is the Beyonder. Do you know who the Beyonder is?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, good.
I grew up during the original Secret Wars and Secret Wars 2. So
Wow, the movie was released on Blu-ray last year.
oh yeah, no, now it's had many pretty brilliant releases. I think that's Blue Underground that put that out, or is it Anchor Bay?
Grindhouse releasing.
Oh, I'm sorry, Grindhouse releasing. They're awesome. They do some of the best restorations and everything. I have an amazing Cannibal Holocaust from them.
They had a limited theatrical release for its 24th. 24th. That's kind of that's strange. 24th anniversary. Usually it's the 25th, 30th. It's like in the 5s. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. That's when they start getting all like, oh. It's like this year's the 40th anniversary of The Omen.
Yep, I'm old.
And the 30th anniversary of Aliens.
Yes. I don't feel old, though. I think one day I'm just going to crumble like a bunch of bones.
New York.
She says she lived in New York all her life, but she still has a slight British accent. So
Yeah, it's at the tail end when she said New York, and I'm like, who are you kidding, honey? Stop lying. This is why you're going to die.
I've lived in New York all of my life, as you can tell by my accent.
Ah! Ah! She's 61 years old and still alive.
Catriona?
Yeah.
Yeah. From what I understand from people that have met her and people who know her, she's a very pleasant woman.
She lives in France. She has a website and everything. We could have her on the show.
Sure, why not?
Yeah. Never tell a woman at a convention who's in her 60s, you were very beautiful back then. Oh, look who I have to go through in order to have her on the show.
Well, I don't know.
Mike, that's Mike's website. That's Mike's company.
Well, Mike doesn't belong with Para anymore. I don't.
Oh, he doesn't? Okay.
I might be mistaken because I talk to Mike nearly enough, but
I only talk to him at conventions.
At one point when we were talking, he mentioned that his time with Para was over, and I'm not exactly sure why.
Gotcha.
But he certainly had an amazing run, that's for sure.
These people who these locations here in Louisiana, they'd be amazing to visit. Wonder if a lot of them are still around after Hurricane Katrina.
Well, Sarah, when she was coming back from...
Ooh, look at all the bonus material.
She was driving her and her grandparents back from Florida, and they stopped in... was it South Carolina, I think? Or Georgia, I forget. But there was a couple of locations that were the set of the Gates of Hell that she stopped at, and she took some pictures and sent them to me. It was pretty awesome.
Hey, Cat in the Brain?
Yeah.
That's a Lucio Fulci movie that I'm aware of that I have seen, but it hasn't been like a million years.
Yeah, I have that at home.
I want to revisit it because look what is coming on Blu-ray by Grindhouse releasing.
Yeah, I know. I have the non-Blu-ray release. I have the DVD that came out a couple years ago.
Only 3,000 units have been made. It comes with the CD and with the film soundtrack on it.
Yeah. It's
now,
what's
awesome. The Cat in the Brain about?
Cat in the Brain is one of the later Fulci films. I think it was in 1990.
Yep.
And I know that it stars Lucio Fulci, and he plays himself. He's a filmmaker who's being haunted by his own movies. So it's almost a best of film in the sense that it does borrow heavily from some scenes from pretty much all of his movies.
Okay, so this book right here that she just saw, this is basically Italian Necronomicon?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. Now, would you call, by the way, the Necronomicon, do you think that's American because it was made by an American in Providence, in America, not overseas? He's not from Britain. He's not from... Lovecraft was American, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, but you get what I'm saying. So is the Necronomicon, even though it's supposed to be written by like an ancient, a mad monk or something, would you consider the Necronomicon tomb, the text, to be American?
No more American than the Bible.
But you get what I'm saying, though. The Bible's not American. The Bible is Israeli, right? No, it's
No, the one that you got in your local Motel 6, that's American made.
No, but the Bible was not written by an American and was not made in America.
No, but it's still one of the best fables I've ever read.
The Bible?
Yes.
I don't know about that, but that would be a whole other show.
Oh, now look at this.
See, now she reacts like a normal person.
She's the only normal person in this movie.
Everyone else
Next
is just
to David Warbeck, his character, I would say. Everyone else is a freak show in one way or another.
The point I was trying to get about the Necronomicon and H.P. Lovecraft stories, you know how like they say most ghost stories are basically carried over from the old country?
Mm-hmm.
But like Sleepy Hollow, that is an American ghost story.
Cool.
That was written by an American here in the United States. Original story.
I hope he made a lot of money.
Who?
because most people don't.
Washington Irving?
Who?
Who are you talking about?
Who's the person who wrote Sleepy Hollow?
Washington Irving.
Yeah, I hope he made a lot of money when he wrote that story, because a lot of people back then didn't copyright the material, and it ended up either becoming public domain or it became somebody else's who
Sleepy
was
Hollow is public
smart
domain.
enough to copyright it properly and own the rights to it.
Sleepy Hollow is public domain.
A lot of those are public domain for that same
Lovecraft
reason.
is public domain, of course. Dracula, Frankenstein, Phantom of the Opera.
Saw him nailed to a wall.
I think I've met this guy.
I don't think you did, unless you met him a long time ago, because he's been dead for a while now.
How long has he been dead for?
David Warbeck?
Yeah.
Well, I bought this in 2000 I think I bought it in 2003 or 2002. And he did the commentary for it, but he was already very, very sick. And
Yeah.
So I'm going to say that he died probably in the early 2000s, like maybe somewhere between 99 and 2002.
Did this come with something special? Is this what the hole in the box is for?
No.
Okay. Sometimes, they'll like give you like this cool, like very limited run collector's item, like a
well,
lighter maybe.
That's what that is. I mean, can I see that for a minute?
Yeah.
This was a very limited edition tin when they were doing those. This is, and it's funny because it's limited edition, but it's of 20,000, which I think if they made it today, it would probably be about half of that.
Yeah, like that copy of The Cat in the Brain is only limited to 5,000 copies.
Yeah, and I think, again, that's just where we're at as far as collectibles go, and that's a whole other conversation too. But
And if you're curious what we're talking about the Anchor Bay The Beyond Lucio Fulci box set, the tin box set, which has all sorts of bonus material on it, including commentary with the man and the woman who were just on screen together.
yeah, and for my money, I would never buy another version of this movie after buying this tin, because to me, this has got everything.
Well,
Even
what
though
if
it's
the
not a
Blu-ray
Blu-ray
has
release,
double the bonus material?
double this?
Double the bonus material, yeah.
Does it say that it does?
I don't know, but that's what I'm asking, though, is if you found out the Blu-ray was even...
Well,
Let's
first
just
of
look
all,
at the quality of this movie. It looks okay, but compared to a high-def version, if they really gave this a gloss, you can imagine the colors and stuff would be a lot brighter.
yeah, but you know something? I don't think I need to see a version of this movie that's necessarily any more crisp than this version of it. I'm not missing anything in my personal experience watching it than if I was watching a Blu-ray instead.
The Cat in the Brain is uncensored director's cut.
But this tin came with the widescreen presentation for it. It was completely uncut. It has rare on-set interviews with Lucio Fulci, the international theatrical trailer, the German theatrical trailer, the U.S. re-release theatrical trailer, the music video by a band called Necrophagia, an audio commentary with stars David Warbeck and Catriona MacColl, which again was one of the last things that David Warbeck did right before he died. The lost German color pre-credit sequence and main titles, languages in English and in Italian. It comes with a 48-page full-color 5x7 booklet featuring rare photos and biography of Lucio Fulci in liner notes, 6 international poster replicas that are 5x7, and still galleries, and much, much more.
So you'd recommend them tracking that down on Amazon or eBay then?
I mean, again, for my money, these are the kinds of things that I want in a collectible. I love these tins. I wish they still made them. I wish people still cared about collecting them. But just an awesome presentation all around. It reminds me of a lot of what we're trying to do with Rough House Publishing and what they're doing with the Ebon Press stuff. We're trying to keep that nostalgia market alive.
There's tons of films that are as obscure as this that when you pick up a new issue of Horror Hound, you really get a sense of like everything's getting like a Blu-ray release of some kind with like, you know, a limited run but packed with bonus material, like obscure things like The Beyond, like Theater of Blood, The Night Visitor, Microwave Massacre, The Rift, The Shape of Things to Come. Even Session 9 is still obscure. if you've never heard of it. I mean, if you're local to Massachusetts, you've heard of it.
Now, this is the director Lucio Fulci here in the front in this scene, the small ball guy.
Oh yeah, I thought I recognized him.
He was like Hitchcock. He appeared in every single one of his movies. His
He
voice
had
was
that
always
kind of ego.
overdubbed with some American actor's voice that never even came close to matching. Now, this is every one of Fulci's horror movies has notorious scenes that they're known for, and in this movie, this is one of those scenes. We've just entered a library, and Lucio's character is the main librarian, and he's letting one of the people that are investigating the haunted hotel go in and look around. By himself, and of course they're going to lock the doors on him too, because that way he won't be disturbed.
Locking in from the inside or out?
I would imagine you probably both know in these movies.
That'd be fun to be working in.
But this scene is worth its weight in gold. This is worth the price of admission right here. Most low-budget film productions would have scenes like this in the script, and they would cut them out and rework it because it just wouldn't be filmable or believable for the budget. But not the Italians, and that's what I loved about their filmmaking styles. They just had no fear whatsoever. They just went for it no matter what. In Zombie, there's a scene where a zombie fights a shark. That's the first thing that would have got cut out of an American-made movie, or it would have been done with cheap CGI now. But no, they just got a real shark and an actor dressed as a zombie, and they went to town. And then you got this scene.
Where the spiders are fake in the background and real in the foreground.
They're fake in the background, very fake in the background.
Yeah, look at that.
And really real in the foreground.
That one. The one right here coming towards us, that's real.
But it still even though it's so over-the-top ridiculous, it still maintains a creep factor just on a general primal level.
It's such a cute tarantula.
Sarah held the tarantula for the first time a couple years ago at Rock and Shock.
Is she afraid of spiders?
I think so. Not anymore, though. I think she's gotten over that fear.
I never understood people's fear of spiders. You're 5 feet tall, 5'6", whatever, and spiders like that big.
These spiders aren't tiny. These
but
guys are the
okay,
size
but
of a
still,
fist,
they're not 5
size
feet
of
tall.
A peanut butter and banana sandwich, man.
Oh, but come on, the spider's no bigger than this mouse on my. These spiders right here are no bigger than the mouse on my table, and you're what, 6 feet tall, Derek? I mean,
I'm not 6 feet tall.
But you get what I'm saying, though.
I tell people that
when I take your foot,
when I left
the spider if you're afraid of it.
The sign on the door, the little scale on the door said that I was 6 feet tall, so I'll take it.
Now, while you're doing your drawings for your comic book, you don't have your spider run around your table to give you inspiration of horror and terror?
No.
No?
No, I do not.
No? Okay.
I currently cannot afford a spider. Foreign or domestic.
Right.
Now, check this out. This is awesome, right? Oh, again with the eye violence. And a close-up. And a little trivia. That one scene that you just saw there, that guy's eye, was in the original Sam Raimi Spider-Man 1.
What? What do you mean?
There was a scene when after Peter Parker got bit, and he was having like the spider sickness. Remember, he was at home with dad, and he was having the shakes and everything else, and there was a bunch of weird flashbacks.
Yeah.
That one scene was in it. Don't ask me why, but it was.
Are you absolutely sure?
I'm absolutely positive. I would bet my life on it.
I'll have to go back home when I get home later tonight or tomorrow and throw in Spider-Man the movie.
You can look it up right now. Oh, look what they're going to do with this poor... Oh, no. Nobody gets to keep both of their eyes.
Spiders would never do this.
These spiders, they're doing it just fine. Look at them, man. Nobody gets to have two eyes in these movies. You get one eye and you like it. Screw you if you don't like it. Oh. My goodness.
Oh, my God. This is too much. What are you subjecting me to? Stop peeling back my eyes so I can't close them.
And see, the scene is not over yet. He's been bitten up. He's been paralyzed. He's had an eye eaten out. And now look at him. They're going to go for the one thing that's getting him in trouble in the first place.
His tongue?
That's right.
Oh, my God. This is ridiculous. You have a much deeper appreciation for these movies than I do.
Well,
Even Zombie,
go easy, tread lightly. All right.
I don't know. You know what I mean? I've Zombie is different just because it's so classic, but I think I've tried a couple of the Fulci movies and I've just never like grasped into it that much. You know what I mean? And it's the same thing with like Japanese horror movies. I'm really, really picky about them.
I will say that these movies are all an acquired taste, and
that is for sure.
I think with the advances of
it disappeared.
Yep, it disappeared. What we're able to do with these modern movies, as far as technical effects go, it really does. I mean, some of these effects were brilliant and primitive at the same time, depending on. I mean, the range of some of these effects broadens so much within just one movie. You'll have a scene like in Zombie where Olga Karlatos is going to get her eyeball poked out by a splinter. And to me, that was a very effective scene, like most of the gore effects in that scene. But then you'll have something like we just saw where you have real spiders in the foreground and fake spiders in the background. And, I mean, one step above like taping a fake spider that you get out of a gumball machine to a pixie stick and just slapping it against someone's face with some Karo corn syrup and food coloring. But this movie kind of runs the gamut. This has some really effective scenes in it too. It's beautifully filmed and photographed, I think. And even without the sound, one of the things I love about Fulci movies is that he films his movies so that in silence you can still completely get the story. I mean, granted, these stories have loose narratives to begin with, but he does tell a story with the lens, and I think that even many modern filmmakers don't know how to do that. They rely too much on things in post to get their points across instead of just telling a good tale with the in-camera wherewithal that these guys had. We're talking about true auteurs,
I've never, of course, obviously, I never met Lucio Fulci, but I did meet the director of Cannibal Holocaust.
Oh, Ruggiero Deodato?
Yeah, Ruggiero Deodato.
I never met him. You met him and I didn't meet him.
So of the 4 big Italian horror directors that are out there, there's Lucio Fulci, Deodato,
Enzo Castellari.
Okay, I wasn't thinking of him, but sure. Mario Bava, he's Italian. Okay, and Dario Argento. Yes. Okay, so there's 5. I've met 1, and he signed my copy of Cannibal Holocaust.
I'm not sure if Mario Bava is still alive, but I think
Dario Argento is still alive.
I know Dario is. Lucio is gone.
Yeah.
Lucio has been gone since '96.
Yeah. The guy I met, oh my God, I'm so tired. Dario Argento. He's still alive.
Yeah, most people that know anything about Italian horror usually it comes down to, are you a Fulci guy or are you a Argento guy? And I'm not exactly sure why, out of all the filmmakers of that era, that those 2 guys are the ones that it came down to.
For horror movies, probably.
Well, there was a lot of others that did horror movies as well. I mean, there's...
You said this guy did everything. Did he do like a comedy? Did he do like a romantic movie?
When I say he did, it's got to be close to, if not over 100 films. And he did probably upwards of 60, 70 films before he even got to Zombie. He was already well past 50, I believe, when he did Zombie. And up until that point, he did a lot of spaghetti westerns. He did sex comedies. He did dramas. He did just about every genre there was. Action, sci-fi. When he got to horror, that's when he became known as a horror director, especially in the States.
There's our names. We're looking at his IMDb list right now for anyone interested. and it's just filled with things I cannot even begin to pronounce because I don't speak Italian, and neither does Derek. And it's just there's just so much on here in language I do not understand. I mean, there's a couple English translations like How We Stole the Atomic Bomb, The Long, the Short, The Cat, The Man Who Killed Billy the Kid. So obviously, yeah, I mean Derek's right. Just before, Zombie, he did a bunch of different things. But in things that are not released here.
As a filmmaker by the time he got to Zombie. So let's look at the scene that we're upon right now, where this caretaker lady from earlier in the movie, she's cleaning out one of these tubs. Now we're going to get the payoff between her and Joe the plumber. But again, if you were to take the sound out of this and just watch the scene play itself out, there's a story being told here. There's a narrative that's playing out on screen, and the choices that Fulci used for camera angles and things like that to get his points across were just fantastic. And you got to remember that everything that they did in these movies back in the day happened on the day and happened in camera. There was no such thing really as post-production.
No, I thought you said that the exchange between the two of these doesn't come back at all. It's like nothing.
I said that the exchange between the two doesn't pay off in the sense that we don't ever know if they had a relationship prior to or whatever.
Oh.
But...
And then he's about to ram her head against that spike thing, right? Yep. Saw that coming as soon as it came into shot. I had no idea Fulci was the producer on The Curse.
I had no idea he was either, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah, and it's based on an H.P. Lovecraft story, The Color of Outer Space. Pop that eye right out.
Ooh.
Now that's a good effect considering that it's him just holding the camera.
Yeah, that was a fantastically filmed scene all the way through. That was very comic booky in its execution. Like if you were to try to frame that panel by panel, that would play out exactly like a comic book, which ironically ends up playing out exactly that way in the Beyond graphic novel. So at this point, David Warbeck's character is starting to catch on that something is strange going on in his town. And basically the idea is that a tear in hell in time and space has happened, and it's opened up a gateway to hell, and it's sort of slowly seeping into our reality and turning everything upside down little by little.
That symbol.
Yeah, you're going to see that symbol again in the Gates of Hell comic book that I did.
Reminds me of that the Blue Oyster Cult symbol.
The what symbol?
The Blue Oyster Cult symbol.
Oh.
In a way, it's slightly changed a little bit, but if you turn that the crooked part, if you turn it right, maybe, then it becomes, I think, the Blue Oyster Cult symbol.
This is probably my favorite scene in the movie. Again, how it plays out is exactly like comic book storytelling, in my opinion. You got a blind girl home alone at night with just her seeing eye dog, and there's obviously other people in the room. Just the way it plays out is fantastic. And it's got a famous payoff.
Now, did she have contacts in her eyes, or is that like remember? You ever seen the X-Men movie Storm? Halle Berry, she's got those white contacts in her eyes, and she's almost permanently blind.
Yeah, these contacts I think were glass back in the day. I don't think they started making soft contact lenses until late '80s, or special effects contact lenses until the late '80s. So I think those are actually glass. Which, much like Bill Bixby, when he had to put in the white contacts for when he turned into the Hulk, said that was one of the most painful experiences that he's ever had to go through on TV.
A friend of mine was filming a Hulk fan film up in New Hampshire, but I don't know if it actually got started yet. He, the Hulk fan film doesn't actually have the Hulk in it. It's just Banner.
Well, then it should be called a Hulk fan film.
But No, but here's the thing. He has this part of the movie. It's based on a comic, a very short story, Hulk, like a one issue Hulk comic. Throughout the story, the Hulk, Banner is trying to help a kid, and he comes up to the gang at the end of the story and tells them, like, you should leave him alone. And they're like, boyo, you in for a war with her, and we're going to beat you up so badly, and so on and so forth, kick your white ass. And he looks up at him, and he's like, better make it quick, and his eyes are green. And then the next scene is him hitchhiking. He's got a shiner, and he's like, the hitchhiker's like, hey, that's quite the shiner you have. He's like, you should see the other guys. And they go driving off. And then you go back to the alley. They encounter the gang, and they're all tied up in lampposts. One's sticking out of the wall, one's up upside down in the sewer grate. And all they can keep saying when the cops are asking what the hell happened is Hulk, Hulk.
I think I'll skip that one.
Dude, it's a kind of a powerful story. You never get to see the Hulk, but you know exactly what just happened. All right, if they're dead, should they really be breathing?
Yes. How are we going to get the spook factor if they don't breathe?
I want realism in my zombie movie.
You want realism in your zombie movie. Did you hear what you just said?
I mean, when The Walking Dead does it.
Oh, yeah, that's realism, all right.
They're just kind of standing around. The dog is completely useless.
They're here to take her back to the beyond.
Yeah, roll credits.
So these
wow, they were just standing there doing nothing.
So all these people who got whacked in this movie up to this point are all now be Phantom dead with Schweik as the leader.
Wow, she's having like hysterics and they're not even doing anything to her.
No. They're tormenting her.
By standing around and she can't even see them?
Well, when you're the blind one and there's 5 zombies in the room and you know that they can just take their time coming for you, I think that would be a little unnerving, if nothing else.
All right, the most important thing is nothing happens to the dog, right?
Well, we're going to find out. Dickie's on the attack. I think they
zombie
could have spent
flesh.
another 5 minutes in the script stages and came up with a better name for the dog than Dickie.
Now, of course, this was back in the day when they didn't have like behind-the-scenes footage of what happened after they got the dog off the actor, and they all start laughing, and the dog comes over and starts licking him or something.
No, but they did have some still pictures that were really interesting.
Kind of like you'll never see behind-the-scenes footage from any of the Universal monster movies. Really, I mean, you see like a clip here or there, but it's so rare to see anything like that. Boris Karloff coming up to the makeup artist or whatever, and just kind of like giving him like the fist bumps.
And there's Dickie, but is it still Dickie? I can't believe that I'm saying this.
Oh no! Poor dog.
Now, I don't know. For my money, that's a pretty effective scene. Oh! And again, we're not done yet. We got to get her in the air, too. She's got to be punished for not going back quietly back into the beyond.
Her seeing eye dog just chewed her the fuck up. That was something else.
Now, if this movie, in fact, had a third act, we'd be rapidly approaching it about now, where everything that's happened up to this point is going to now come to a head, and we're going to find out exactly how deep this rabbit hole goes. I don't know if we've been doing a good job at all with trying to sell this movie to the home listening audience.
It's been more you than me, because, again, I don't know anything about this movie. This is one of the rare occasions where it's a horror movie I have not seen, and I know very little about the subject matter of Italian horror. So,
for all of you who are listening right now who are under the age of 15, that thing that David Warbeck was talking into is called a payphone. A pay telephone.
Stick quarters in it, and...
Yeah, and at the end you had to stick 35 cents in it, and you got 3 minutes, and it sucked. But you could tell your friends, you could call for 25 cents, tell your friends to call back at the number that was listed, they could call you back for free, and you could just sit there and talk to them all night. That was a trick. So if you ever, if pay telephones ever come back into vogue, you heard it here, folks. I'm here to tell you can save a lot of money by just having your buddy call you back at that number.
Are you and Sarah going to go to this? This is the 16th annual Coolidge Corner Theater Halloween Marathon. October 29th through the 30th, starting at 11 p.m. 12 p.m. on the 29th till 12 p.m. on the 30th.
I don't know. This is my first time hearing about it.
12 hours of fright films.
What kind of fright films?
Oh, sorry. It starts at midnight on Sunday, so Saturday night. They're going to first be celebrating the 20th anniversary of Wes Craven's Scream, followed by 6 more tales of terror.
No, maybe not.
They'll be announcing the
this
other
year I'm
films
doing
soon.
conventions every weekend in the month of October.
Well, this is just you sitting in the movie theater watching movies.
That's what I'd like to be doing this year.
On Halloween?
Sure, why not?
Well, this is the couple days before Halloween. Well, you'll be at That's Entertainment with me on the 29th.
At That's Entertainment? What's the 29th?
That's when they're going to do their Halloween comic book giveaway for the kids.
Oh, well, I don't know if they're going to invite me this
Oh,
year.
well, you've been to the last 2 or 3.
I've been to the last one, the last Halloween one.
Oh.
Which was a blast. That was one of my favorite things. I like drawing for the kids.
Yeah, so maybe you'll get invited back again. I hope so, because we'll be there.
If I did get invited back, the answer is yes.
We'll be there promoting, selling the first issue of Dracula.
Well, if they do invite me for that in particular event, I'll have the first and second issues of Zombie. I'll have the first issue of Gore Shriek that we did through Rough House. And I'll have some New the Dead Omnibus as well. So at this point, David Warbeck thinks that Liza is crazy, basically, and he thinks that she's the one responsible for everything that's been going on. And together they're going to learn that this pantheon of horror widens further in scope than either of the two could ever imagine.
Did you see that?
Yes. Thank you. That's very nice of you to put up on your... Is that...
That's Katarina's website.
No, I understand that, but where we just came from, that's your website.
That was my website, yeah.
I see.
So my website for anyone listening is www.radiohorror.wordpress.com, and if you want to see more information about Derek's project that he's been talking about through the commentary, you can see a link to it on my page for an event coming up on the 20th. Hopefully this commentary will be up on YouTube for the 20th. It'll be up sometime in August, I can say that.
Oh, so here we go. She was just accused of being responsible for all of this mess, and together they're about to get hornswoggled. And
Hornswoggled. That's a word.
And David Warbeck is going to learn what Catriona McCall has known this entire time, which is this place is just unfucked.
I did just buy, got it really cheap, Bride of Reanimator, the Arrow videos release.
I think I would like that one very much.
Yeah, that is jam-packed. And you get the Beyond Reanimator comic book, which is out of print, and it's the prequel to the first movie.
Oh, fantastic.
It's all messy.
This, in particular, film had a really fantastic soundtrack on top of everything else.
The look, again, it's, as much as the gore as I'm not like as invested in, the look of the atmosphere of the movie is really cool and beautiful.
And to me, that look and atmosphere that you're talking about is a lost art. You just won't find that with the modern filmmaker on the whole. I mean, every once in a while somebody breaks through that really has a vision, but this
Trust
is all
me,
done.
you haven't seen The Sleepover yet. When we finish it, it will put this to shame. No, I'm kidding. Oh, who's that? Right there in the window.
Yeah.
Who's that?
That's the hotel basically coming to life with ghosts.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, right?
So now I'm thinking about like next Friday. Next Sunday we're gonna get together with the last person involved with the sleepover, and now I have to watch this movie again and like take notes and like recreate it from my movie with like fog and mysticism and stuff. Because the stuff I wrote for Sarah is like more goofy and kind of like, you know, poking fun at horror movies. But we got to do the stuff with the intruder to make it look like suspenseful. Because we got to keep bouncing back and forth between their stupid jokes that I wrote for them.
Chris, watch it, man. Fucking ear.
What?
You ripped this thing out of my ear.
Oh, I'm sorry. So anyone ever want to do these commentaries for their film you love, and have your friends and family and other people that you don't even know listen to it? The best way to do it, of course, is play it on one device, so that way you can listen to it, and then record on a different device that's not picking up the audio of the film. So that way, A, you don't get in trouble for playing the audio of the film, and B, you're not like trying to have too much background noise.
Now this is where the rest of the film pretty much plays out. I don't know why they decided to go back to the morgue to get away from dead people, but
I'm a doctor, damn it.
there's a couple of scenes in here that I got to point out when they happen that are just absolutely hilarious.
I'm a doctor, but I carry a fucking big gun.
Yeah, I mean, in the 70s and 80s, I think everybody had a gun in their drawer just at the ready. That was like the answer to whatever the question was.
Oh, you're like right behind me.
The answer was, I have a gun in my top drawer right next to the Bible. Now, one of the things I want to bring up about this scene coming up is that it was a studio mandate that because of the success of Zombie, that they had a scene with shambling zombies in it. And that's where this whole thing that's coming out of nowhere came from. A lot of these guys, I know that there's a couple of actors in there, but a lot of these people are drunks and hobos that they paid for a day to come and shamble down the hallways and act like zombies. And there's another scene in particular that I'll point out where the same thing happens.
So he's only got like 3 shots left, right? 4?
Yeah, if you're counting, there's a really funny scene coming
5.
up.
So, yeah, I mean, one of us is going to be the rational person watching this movie. 6. All right, you should be out, right? Just throw the gun at the zombies. 6. That was a 7, right? I heard 7 shots.
Well, he had a 6-shooter, right?
Yeah, but I thought I just heard a 7th shot go off.
Well, you're probably going to hear a couple more go off. Yeah.
8, 9.
Oh, he finally ran out.
It must
of
be a
bullets.
9-shooter.
Now, this is the thing.
Oh, wait, I'm going to go back to my lab. I'm going to go back to my office to get the bullets.
So he
Okay.
locks himself in. But now he's out of bullets, right?
Why did he shoot the zombie in the chest? He was standing right next to him.
Because that's where the squibs were.
You're standing right next to the zombie. I'm going to shoot you right here.
Because that's where the squibs were.
But you
Chris.
get
It
what
had
I'm
to match
saying.
up. It had to match. If he shot him anywhere else, the squib would have went off where it went off, and it would have looked completely phony.
The bullet
And
traveled.
this movie does not look phony, Chris.
The bullet traveled down and shot out the squib.
And now we're going to get our obligatory... Oh, I forgot about her. The payoff for her character is coming up.
Isn't she all screwed up too?
Yeah, those white eyes are basically a symbol that they've become like sentinels or spirits from the beyond. And because she's acting like a normal little girl, she's really...
Do we ever
Not.
get the title of the movie actually said?
Do we get a title for the movie?
No, but do we ever get the title of the movie actually said within the context of the movie?
That's a good question. I forget. I'm going to say no, but they very well could have, but I don't remember that. And here they come.
Having him drop that meat cleaver probably wasn't a good idea.
Some of those cats were actually the zombies in the movie Zombie 2. some of the featured guys that actually had to act.
Oh, the actors.
Another eye close up.
Where did he get the bullets to reload, or were they in his pocket? Right, that must have been what it is.
Well, again, if you wanted to start counting again,
meat cleaver still on the floor. You could pick that up.
oh, here we go. Check this out. Oh no!
That made no sense whatsoever.
No, it just happened. That's what you get. You get it right in the face. So again, we're going to get to a scene, I think, right now where I think it was a mistake. I think it was one of those things where David Warbeck was either trying to be funny on purpose, or he literally didn't know how to load a gun or reload a 6-shooter.
Uh-huh.
And if you look really closely, you can actually see the blooper. Because Catriona McCall's character, Liza, starts to laugh. All right, it's right here. Just keep on watching. So he's out of bullets. Catriona's holding on to the little girl, and he's going to reload the gun. Watch how he reloads it, and watch her face. He grabs a bullet. Look where he's putting it.
He puts it in the barrel.
Did you see her face? She started laughing.
Oh, no, I didn't see the face.
Yeah.
But I saw that he was putting the bullet into the barrel.
Yeah,
oh, my God.
He's putting the bullets down the barrel of his 6-shooter.
Does he know how to do that?
Well, that's the thing. I don't know if he was just being funny and trying to make her laugh, because she literally does start to laugh.
I was paying attention to him more than her, just to see, like, because I thought that's where you wanted my attention. I was like, I'll have to catch that scene some other time.
Yeah, so just hilarity. And there's a
oh my God, they're walking so slow you can run around them. Just push them down. Just push. Push.
But that's the thing, they're the Phantom Dead. No matter where they go, they're just there. So.
Hey, so that's how we reload a gun now, right, Derek? You just put it right through the barrel?
I just blow into the other side of the hole until the bullet flies out.
Oh, okay. What about a slingshot? Do you think that would work?
In this movie, probably the same way.
Maybe put a stick of dynamite. That's what you need. Just a stick of dynamite and blow them all up at once. Isn't that what you do in Resident Evil?
I would just take a slingshot and a piece of corn from your salad, and I bet you I could make it do the same thing in a Fulci movie.
Okay, going back into the morgue is probably the worst idea. Yep.
You called that one, Chris. Boy, you must have seen movies like this before. Look at that.
He looks okay.
Yeah, he's a fresh cadaver.
He would be perfect for the reanimators experiments.
Check out this scene.
She has an awful lot of blood on her, and she's not really bleeding that much.
No, it was raining blood in an earlier scene.
Oh, that's right.
Now check this out. This is going to be a good one.
The creepy little girl. It's when she attacks.
And there's the head one. There's Schweik. He's kind of the one masterminding this whole thing. So
he's masterminding it, even though he looks like he's brainless.
Well, it stands to reason that he was crucified and burnt and chain whipped.
The guy from the beginning of the movie. Okay, yeah, you're right.
And apparently he was, because look at all the mess that he's caused now.
Oh my God, dude! Shoot it in the head.
But it's funny, like, they're supposed to be basically ghosts, and somehow shooting them in the head does keep them down. So again, they just follow random rules from other movies for no apparent reason. In
the Dead Space video game, you don't kill the necromorphs by just blowing their head off, because the body will still be alive. You have to chop off the arms and legs in order to kill it completely, because that's where a lot of its power is.
Yeah. Oh, check this out.
Oh boy, crazy little ginger.
Boom.
Oh, wait, that's not even the same actress. Did you see that?
An actress. That was just a fake head.
Okay, yeah, that did not look like that little girl at all.
So they're running through this mess.
Okay, that bullet knocked out that one zombie.
It's because he shot him in the tit.
Okay, wait, hold on a second. He's shooting zombies
that's like the taint
that
for
are
a zombie.
So decomposed left and right in the body, and they're not falling down. That one is so
check
fresh.
This out. They were in the hospital, and now they're back in the basement
of the house.
So as you can see, they can't escape. Now, if you remember when Schweik in the beginning of the movie was painting a painting, we're starting to learn throughout the course of the movie, as the painting becomes a motif that keeps reoccurring. If you listen, that music right there is from Zombie.
Yes, and the only reason I remember that because I'm not the biggest fan of these movies. I own Zombie, which is drawn by this guy right here.
Mm-hmm. Well, one of the guys.
One of the guys. The only one that I care about because you're right here in front of me. Way back in 2002. How old are we?
Oh, we're not.
Back
Not
when
as young as we used to be. But
the very first free comic book day.
I still feel pretty spry for a white guy.
I think if you cut your hair, you'd look just like the way you did back in 2002.
I don't know about that. Kind of growing an extra chin or two. So, Schweik was painting a painting which was supposed to basically be his version or his interpretation of what the beyond is, which is kind of like this netherworld or this anti-world.
Yeah.
And as these guys make their way to the end of the movie, we learn that, yeah,
Right here.
right there, Chris is actually reading the, well, not reading, but he's opened the page to the graphic novel.
Yeah,
It
I'll read
mirrors
it
the end of the
afterwards.
scene.
Now that I have watched the movie, so I'm not spoiled.
So they walk right into a real-life version of the painting, which is a bunch of bodies on the ground of a dead planet.
No, did they show us their eyes?
Yeah. Now, another little small piece of trivia is that these people lying on the ground were, in fact, bums off the street that were paid in booze to lie there for a day as dead people. And if you notice, they turn around to go back, and it's the same image in both directions, which means that they're completely trapped and lost in the beyond. It's this dead, soundless world
Terrible.
where
It's hell.
it's hell.
But what did they
the
do
very
wrong?
Old Testament version of hell. It had nothing to do with doing right or wrong. It had nothing to do with being judged. It had to do with evil overcoming everything at the end of the day. And as you notice, their eyes are now white, just like the blind girl and just like the little girl. And they too have become... I don't necessarily know what this means. I know that Steve had his own explanation for what this was in his book, but to me it always seemed that they were doomed to become sentinels of the beyond as well, and they were going to be forced to do the bidding.
Now, who's talking again?
It's just a random... Again, it's like a random narrator. It doesn't even make any sense.
Oh, but do you know who it is?
I don't.
Oh.
And that's it. And then we go back to the painting from the beginning of the movie, and the movie is over. Anthony Flees. I think that if my last name was Flees, I would go to the town hall and I would get it legally changed to Cockroach.
I wonder who has that painting now.
I don't know. These are all good questions, and I don't think that back in those days, the nostalgia factor like we have today was that prominent. So
I was 1 year old when this came out.
Some of these artifacts are probably, some of these sets were built and they were torn down, or they were used for other sets and other movies, and some of these props and paintings and things were probably given to people who didn't really have any real reason to keep them
Pat
preserved.
Stark was the name. Was the it says The Voice. It's
Yeah.
uncredited.
I think it would have been better if it was somebody like who else has
Peter Cullen.
But that was totally a Morgan Freeman line, don't you think?
Well, this guy was working up until 2000.
And you shall face a sea of darkness, and all that shall be explored.
The Mummy theme park.
Boy,
Is this a
and
man
they
or a
do
woman?
faint.
Oh my God, there was a Titanic animated movie this guy was in. The narrator from Beyond.
And that was
in
Beyond,
the-
everybody.
Can you believe that?
Can you believe it? He made it through 90 minutes of this wonderful masterpiece that once I leave, he'll refer to as shit. He just doesn't want to hurt my feelings.
No, it's okay. It definitely is an acquired taste, these Italian horror movies.
So, Christopher, now that the movie is over, can you give me your knee-jerk reaction to watching this film? I know we talked over it and we were kind of...
I think the atmosphere was really beautiful. I definitely don't think it's the type of horror movie for me. It might just be because of how dated it is, maybe. But I like dated horror movies too, and horror things. I watch like the Tales, from Tales from the Crypt or the Twilight Zone and things like that. But maybe Italian horror is just, again, it's definitely an acquired taste that you have to really be into, and maybe subjected to at a much younger age. Because I've tried to get into it several times, and other than Zombie, I just have never been able to really fully immerse myself into it. And there might be one or two other Italian horror movies. Obviously, there are. And again, I'm not saying Cannibal Holocaust, which I mentioned in having meet the director, as being like one of my favorite movies of all time. But just Italian horror movies in general are just kind of like I tried watching the Hill of the Cannibal God or something.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But hey guys, thank you for tuning in to Film Dungeon Commentary for The Beyond, probably one of the only Italian horror movies I'll be doing a commentary for. Unless we do Zombie, maybe, because Zombie is one I am very familiar with. But this is Dr. Chris signing off, and my special guest, Derek Rook.
Hey, don't forget to go to church on Sundays, everybody. Take care.
And then you won't go to the Beyond,
So
right?
you don't go to the Beyond afterwards for not eating your Wheaties.
Thanks, guys, for tuning into this episode of Film Dungeon Commentary. Next up, we will have Marvel's animated film, Doctor Strange.
Take care.